Hi, my name is Lakeisha Davis, and the first article I'll be analyzing for you today is the impacts of problem-based learning approach in enhancing critical thinking skills to teaching literature from the International Journal of Applied Linguistics and English Literature. So, in this article, it is basically speaking about how in modern times we are going from a teacher-centered classroom to student-centered classroom, because in the ways of the past, that the the classroom be centered around the teacher feeding information to the student just sitting there taking notes, absorbing information, and then testing on it, and that would be seen as mastery, moving on to the next level, and then graduating from high school and going on to higher learning with said information. But what we're realizing is that this way of teaching is ineffective. The students aren't really learning anything, and they're especially not learning to be critical thinkers. That in this model of classroom, the teacher is right, and the student is just supposed to sit there and taking on the teacher's rightness, or that the teacher knows all. But what's happening is that the students aren't taught to question what they're learning and really dig in deep, especially with text. That we're learning that when a student is learning a text, that it's more effective if they have a relationship with the text, if they're taught to read, interpret, question the text, and then make connections from the text to themselves, to their everyday lives. So that's where problem based learning comes in. Problem based learning allows the students to see the standards in the text and the concepts that they're learning inside the classroom in a real world way. That it allows the students to guide their own learning, that they choose their own topics, and then they self assess. They do surveys at the beginning, during, and at the end of their learning projects. That they choose their own research, and that they have their own checkpoints. And that the teacher is just there to guide and enable them in any way possible. My only issue with this article, because it sounds great and the research said that it was pretty successful in the classrooms that it was done in, is that what do you do for the students who are super reluctant to read and engage? Because they'll often not do the work or assess themselves at inaccurate levels. And for those students who just really do not want to engage, do you have to differentiate instruction for them? Do they need to still be doing more traditional work? How do you trust that student that you just cannot get to do much to engage in this type of learning? Because it seems like a fun thing to do, and a student who would be bored in the classroom could find ways to engage themselves through their research and through their driving their own projects. But what do you do for the other ones? And as a teacher, how do you sit down and grade all these self assessments? But overall, I think that it's a great article. This was a great idea. It was well thought out, and the research proved it pretty successful. But as for implementation of it in my own classroom, I think it would be like small bits and pieces of it. Not quite whole units yet, but great idea. I really loved it. I think everyone should take a peek at this article.